All right, the kitchen's all fired up. Judi is busy at work. It's fun watching an artist at work over there, Judi.
Well, thank you, Ray, and I'm excited because you get to enjoy a gluten-free lunch today. You may be seeing a lot of trends using tomato vinaigrette, and that's what we're going to do today. I have beautiful hand-cut salmon that I picked up at Whole Foods, but this recipe is going to work even if you're a carnivore and you want to use a ribeye. We're going to warm up those grape tomatoes with some shallots and some olive oil. Add some seasoning. We're going to roast some asparagus and bring it all together with a little Israeli couscous. It's simple. It won't take long at all. And since it may be the first day of fall, so you might want something like pumpkin cheesecake for dessert, but you still want to eat a little bit lighter with these tropical temperatures. And I'll teach you how in just a few minutes.
Right, back to the kitchen now, and Chef Judi has my favorite thing going on there, salmon and asparagus. Take it away, Judi.
Ooh, we do, Ray. We are going. So, whenever you're cooking salmon, I always suggest you have them leave the skin on because that's going to hold in some wonderful moisture. And to be honest, as you peel it back, I just put it back in the fry pan and crisp it up. I mean, we buy it at sushi restaurants, right? That crispy salmon skin. So, the pan is heating medium high, 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. I've peeled the asparagus. Highly recommend towards the base that you get rid of the knobby part. It'll just taste nicer. Salt and pepper, olive oil, in the oven, 425. Tops 8 minutes, probably 6 minutes. We'll turn it once. So over in this pot, I'm just making a little basil Israeli couscous. It's Near East brand, so I'm not going to all the trouble of doing layers of flavors myself. So we're going to bring it to a boil, cover the lid. Now the salmon. Olive oil for about 15 minutes. That's why I work on the asparagus while I'm letting the salmon sit with the olive oil. Really soak up with a minimal amount, but really soak up that moisture and keep this salmon just a lovely brown, and we're going to be great. Now, I love when Paulette from the Spice and Tea Exchange has been around because she leaves me all these great flavors. So this is a Mariner's Chowder blend, and I actually tried it on a piece of salmon, and it's really giving great flavor. So think about what you have that you can bring a little seasoning in. We're also going to add a little cumin in a few minutes because the cumin is going to be with the tomatoes. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to remove these 2 pieces of salmon that have been in the oven. I'll show you that technique in just a minute. Whenever you're cooking fish, a good technique, go to a restaurant supply store and buy several pans. I get them of various sizes, and that way they're oven proof. They're going to go and you're going to finish in the oven. When we come back, I am ready to get this tomato vinaigrette on the salmon, and we're going to have a delicious lunch. I know Ray's excited. We'll be back in a few minutes. We're going to make a nice light tomato vinaigrette. Now again, like I said, this is trending. So what you can do is you can serve it warm, but I recommend that you make a double batch. So we're going to serve it over the salmon, but then you'll have some left over for another meal. As I said, it works great on steak or turkey cutlets. So we have 2 shallots, and I've sliced them very thin. The heat's a little high, so I'm going to just bring that down. We don't want the shallots to burn. We just want to get them a little bit translucent. Even slightly golden is fine as it expresses all that flavor. Now we're going to add our tomatoes, about a pint of organic cherry tomatoes. And boy, I have to tell you, this particular, right now, those grape tomatoes are coming in so good. Organic's the best way because they really have that flavor we remember as a child when our parents grew those vegetables. That's a really good one. So we're going to take some parsley, some basil, and that's cut really thin. I just roll the basil and then cut it thin. Doesn't this look beautiful? It could be on pasta or whatever. So salt and pepper. We'll get a little more of this seasoning. It'll get it out of the box with a bold flavor. And then deglaze with red wine, okay? Just a little bit is all we need. We'll bring that up to temperature. And I should mention that I used vegetable oil, canola oil at this point because I want to be able to cook down these tomatoes, really get in there with the capers that will add that salt intensity to it. It's going to be so good. So this is going to reduce down, saute, I would say about 4 minutes. And what you can do is, as the tomatoes start to cook, you can just switch over to a fork and then start to mash it down. I took out the asparagus. They are grilled perfectly. They're going to come together. And of course, the basil couscous that I have, which is going to add another element of delicious flavor. And so we have basil in the dish, basil in the couscous, so it's going to work really well. Now you can really see it. That we're just going to give that heat, give them a little, let them blister up a little bit. Now you could put all this in your Cuisinart or your blender if you wanted to, but I'm going to leave it with the tomatoes blistered and soft into this beautiful vinaigrette. And basically what we're going to do is we're just going to take that delicious basil couscous. We're going to put some of the tomato vinaigrette on top and a few spears of asparagus, and we're ready to go. I'll see you back in a minute for a good taste. Careful, it's a little hot. I had it on the edge of the stove, but
can't wait. It looks awful good.
See, and nobody can complain that you're not eating healthy,
Well,
right,
that's
John?
delicious. That's right.
Yeah, marries those flavors, and I think the tomatoes get that brightness. Add that little red wine vinegar. Boom.
That is delicious.
Good. And you eat a lot of salmon at home, right?
Oh, it's one of our favorite fish.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
So-
it's healthy on so many levels, you know.
It is.
Yeah.
And you look at the layers of like we're warming up tomatoes, so healthy, because that's what releases the greatest nutrition of tomatoes is when they're warm. So
That is
I
true.
think it's a pretty balanced dish.
I didn't realize that the cancer-fighting ingredients in tomatoes
Yes.
aren't activated until they're cooked.
Exactly. So, I mean, I'll eat tomatoes any way I can get them, especially when they're organic and they're coming in really bright right now at Whole Foods. It's going to be
Delicious.
good.
The recipe's on our website, mysuncoast.com. Check it out. Judi, excellent. Thank you.
Thanks. Enjoy.
Right?